Welcome, Phoenixes and low ego action heroes. This is Debbie Levitt from Delta CX, and welcome to the Delta CX Hive channel. It is time for Ask Me Anything, where today it's Ask Us Anything. We've got Dr. Nick joining. Normally he joins the second Wednesday of the month, but we shifted him all around, and he was kind to reschedule to accommodate my wackiness. So if you have a question, hey, Ana Lucia, if you have a question, get it in the chat. It'll pop up on the screen like this, or you can send it to dcx.to. There is a link there that says ask a question for the Ask Me Anything. That will come into my email, and I will capture it and read it out loud. So you are welcome to send in questions. We don't have any questions yet, so you could be among the first. If you want to send it in, I'm going to open up my email and make sure I am not going to miss anything from any of you. So let's bring in Dr. Nick and say a warm hello to him, a warm summertime hello to you, Dr. Nick.
Hello, Italy. Hello, very hot Italy, I would imagine.
Today it was more humid than anything. I think it was 32, but it felt like being in a steam room in not a good way. So how about over there?
We're just getting thunderstorms now, although where I live, we haven't had any significant. We've had a couple of minor sprinkles that barely got the ground wet. So it hasn't rained, in like 2 months?
Yeah.
Maybe longer?
Yeah, so, same here.
So it's going to be interesting when it does happen. I think there are some parts of the country already that are getting rain, which is great. Just the southeast is particularly dry. And you know what's going to happen? Because the ground is rock hard, like it's just all going to run off, right? It's going to be a nightmare, and the roads are going to be heck because they're going to be all greasy and all of that. So that's still to come. We're not quite there yet.
That means this. Now we have a new segment. Dr. Nick gives us the weather. Ana Lucia says there's thunderstorms there where she is in Portugal. I imagine later today or tomorrow I will get all of your thunderstorms. You all get them before I do. So thank you for sending your thunderstorms over to us. That just means it's a day when I don't have to water my garden. I will keep checking for any questions that might be coming in. Dr. Nick, before we get a question, anything on your mind that you feel like talking about?
As your amazing toe hider credits were playing, right? I love your credits. Your theme tune. It's so great, and every time I hear it, it's great. It's got a 70s thing about it that's just amazing.
I asked for an 80s thing. Yeah,
early 80s thing going on. It's so authentic. It sounds authentic. Anyway, we talk about low ego action heroes.
Yeah.
And it got me thinking, I think maybe we need to become high ego action heroes.
Okay, tell me more.
Okay, so here's the hypothesis. Being low ego, being humble, being, a realist, or whatever you call that, being yourself, it's great, but we're definitely a minority of people because everybody else is faking it till you make it. They've got a front, you know what I mean? It's marketing. It's rampant AI supported marketing, right? If you've got a low ego and in and amongst that, you've got a high level of competence, self-confidence, etc. But in terms of being able to influence, being able to change, being able to do stuff, being a minority amongst a bunch of high ego players means we are sidelined effectively, through our own, not choice, but through our own style, right?
But can we have a better style without having a high ego?
Well, high ego is probably the wrong way of putting it because it's just the opposite of low ego, right? But more like high visibility or high, I don't want to call it disagreement because that doesn't work for me or anybody else either. But you understand what I'm saying? High truth or high, not truth. That's such a hippy dippy word. Do you know what I mean? But just less bullshit, frankly. More evidence, more, do you know what I mean? I think those people who are capable of doing good things shouldn't be as not meek, you know what I'm saying? As humble. Sometimes I think humble is not a good thing. And we are living in a world that is extraordinarily unhumble or whatever the opposite of humble is, right? I mean, it's shocking. People think they're brilliant after a year or two or something. They think they're amazing, that they're, God's gift and senior and all that stuff. And it's not going well. The job market, doesn't matter what age you are, is awful. It's getting worse and it's not good. So that's all I'm saying is how do you get competence into the matrix if we're all just a little bit too nice about it? I think we need to elbow our way in a bit louder, a bit more muscly.
I think we do have to, and by the way, we did have a question come in through the dcx.to, but not anonymously. So we'll get to that in a moment. I think that we do need to push a little more, and I don't think that we should be pushovers. The low ego thing was something that I've been saying since 2018 or 19, and where it came from was at the time, a lot of UXers were starting to get pushed out of work and out of meetings because people said, oh, I hate my designer. He's such an ego head. He comes in and he says, oh, this is what we should do. And it's my way or the highway. And here's my design. And I'm throwing it at you and fuck everybody. And I'll go work on something else. And I heard this from a lot of people in a lot of different companies in a lot of different industries. And I said, well, thing one, it sounds like when you hired that person, you didn't check whether or not they're a dick. But, so I started trying to remind people that we can get a lot done. We can be action heroes without being high ego dickheads, because people hate working with high ego dickheads. And so I agree with you that I think we do need to push more and fight for some things and not be doormats and walked on. But I also hope that we'll still find a way to be mostly nice to work with.
Yeah, I'd like to believe that. The problem is that this is kind of a depressing thought. So I apologize to you and everybody listening and watching, okay? Because this is just a dose of reality. The actual truth is, as I can work it out from my weird perspective on social media, in my company, in the world, UX, because it got fucked up like everything else did, unfortunately. It got redefined, it got messed up. It lost all its value and then thrown away like every other toy that they wrecked, right? UX is no longer, it's not even a consideration. No one in product cares or knows about UX. They don't know what it is. They've never been exposed to it. They've probably never really used products that have good UX design in them. Because
right, and we know that for many product managers, they think that if they claim to care about users, they must be doing UX. Oh, I have empathy. I care about users. And I would say, well, how do you show that you care about users?
Yeah, the acid test. When was the last time you watched a user using your product?
Right. Something you write about on LinkedIn, plenty.
Daily, yes, and they just don't do it. So no one's got that feedback cycle. No one knows about anything close to user testing. And so they don't even know what design research or product research is. They just know this fluffy market research discovery shit. And it doesn't do anything. In fact, you build the wrong thing. And so people aren't really doing it because it was crap. Another discarded good idea or toy. And so this is it, right? People, the users of the world, are used to using substandard stuff. I was just navigating something on Netflix and there's just basic navigation, basic information architecture, basic undo states, basic everything isn't there. It's just this really boring 960 grid BS, right? It's dry, it doesn't work, it looks good, that's it. It's terrible. So what I'm trying to say is if UX truly is not, it was the heyday between 2010 and 2020, should we say, or for it had a good 5-6 year run when the products were brilliant. We were making money. Everybody was really happy. It was a good world. And now product managers are running scared, and that's it. And they don't know any other way. And there is do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just not, it's not sustainable. PMs, I can't see PM surviving much longer either at this rate. I just can't.
I agree. They want to get rid of everybody. There's, I mean, it's just like the article I wrote a couple of years ago that the last tech worker with a job will be an engineer because they just want stuff to function.
You know what? It won't be an engineer. It'll be the everyman. It'll be anyone. And I keep seeing these occasional memes or posts on LinkedIn of people saying, the team is dead. It's all about. Oh no! It was like, one person's picture repeated 6 times with it saying designer, researcher, PM, engineer, content, service kind of thing, right? And to many extents, on a practical level and an engagement level, that's true. But on a building successful products that find a product market fit level, good freaking luck, right?
Right.
And this is what we're watching right now, is this wide-eyed naivety. So, okay, let me cut to the chase. Let me drop some gold for you.
And then we do have comments I want to read, and we do have a question that came in.
Okay, I'll wrap this little tirade monologue up real quick. What I think we're going to see is the world reinventing itself, reinventing UX from scratch with a different name, right? You can't develop products without some... No one develops a product in a cupboard and then throws it out into the world. No one. But that's what's happening today, and it's just really crazy. So it's going to happen. Product is a shambles. Without product, which is good, what is that team of 1 or team of 2 going to be doing? Right? Do you understand? UX will come back in another form, and it can't be product, and it won't be called UX, but it'll be some kind of user-centric thing. And I firmly believe that. I really do, because people won't listen or learn, but they fundamentally need it. Do you see what I mean? The alternative is this guesswork, this random guesswork. And no market, no amount of venture capital, no amount of funding is going to support that. The market can't do it.
Let me read some of the comments that have been coming in. So Ana Lucia said, I've been having similar thoughts lately too. I'm so tired of fake it until you make it. What's wrong with being aware that we don't know everything? Why is honesty so poorly seen? Everything is so fake. Melanie said, or if they do watch what users are doing, they don't even care. Ana Lucia said, I really hate that liars and egotistical people are the ones being rewarded in this world instead of the people who are honest and know how they know or don't know and will do everything in their power to learn. High ego coworkers who think they do everything and management simply believes them. And Malika says, hi, hope everybody's doing great. Well, hi, Malika. We hope you're doing great. I'm using my tea towel every day and thinking of you. Let me bring in the question. We got an interesting, complex question from one of our community members who said we can mention his name. So Shaunak, who sometimes posts in our Discord community. Don't forget, our Discord community is free. Everybody, you'll find the link at dcx.to. And it's a long question, so it's a little small. Let me read it out loud. Hey, Debbie and Nick, Shaunak here, and feel free to mention my name. Here's my question. I don't want to get into the exact story, but a few months ago, a millionaire social media influencer shamed a laid-off worker asking for financial assistance, such as calling her lazy, entitled, welcome to the real world, apply more, and put more effort into the workforce. The story really pissed me off, but it raises questions I wanted to share with you guys. 1. Does fame and money change or reveal someone? 2. Is life always a meritocracy? The belief that by working hard you excel in life and get more respect rather than relying on luck or privilege? Some people who make it claim they got to where they are by hard work and perseverance. Nick, thoughts on this?
That's a very deep question, Sean.
I know.
I'm not like... I don't think either of us, Debbie or I, are like specifically qualified or experienced to answer this. It's an interesting question.
I definitely have a perspective on this because of some social media I've been watching lately.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll just give you mine and then get out of Debbie's way kind of thing. Because this is just like the everyman kind of a question, right? Rather than something that falls in my wheelhouse. But does fame and money change someone or reveal someone? In my experience, pretty much yes, most and every time. Not everybody for the bad. But generally speaking, yeah. Is life always a meritocracy? I don't think it's ever a meritocracy. And that's the real shame of things. Maybe I'm just being being really cynical, but I've got friends of mine, I know people who have gone into family businesses, right? and have been extraordinarily successful, or have been given gigantic lumps of money to start businesses with and employ top end branding agencies, right? They'll tell you I worked bloody hard on that for 3 years and blah blah blah. But it's like, come on, man! Like, you want to give me the same start? I'll be successful too. So it isn't the same, right? Yeah, of course they're working hard. Yeah, they're doing, but it's not this. It just isn't the same when you've got the safety blanket of money around you. It just creates very different behaviors. So yeah, like, listen, if life was a meritocracy, like, working hard, making the sacrifices would all be rewarded. You know?
Yeah, meritocracy means you deserve it, and
yes.
Who among us deserves it the most? The people lower on the ladder working the hardest. That's where the real deserving is.
Yeah. Oh, and that's a really great point. In which case, I'm just going to hand it over to you, Debbie, because I'm not floundering, but this ain't my area. You know, it's like, I just
not my area either. But I've been does anybody else love the guy who's on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok who goes by Dottie Snacks? DAADI Snacks. He's an Indian American in New York. He's a finance guy, but he's really made a name for himself in social media, calling out all of the influencers with their extreme elitist behavior and how fake a lot of them are, and that many of the ones that claim to be rich or millionaires or whatever have been caught faking it and don't have the money they have. Sometimes these people are going shopping and showing you all the things that they bought, and then they turn around and return it. They've started catching that a lot of these influencers who claim to be rich and successful have either since lost that money due to bad investments and other things, or never had that money and were faking it. So I think my question would also be, why do we care what that person thinks about anything or anybody? If a social media influencer who is essentially a nobody and is somebody we won't even be thinking about in 6 months or a year, a literal nobody, if they are picking on people who are laid off or don't have jobs, look, we know that rage bait works on social media. And if this person makes money through clicks or likes, or if you, depending upon which social media platform this is, they might be selling a course, they might have coaching they're offering. There's usually something that makes them money. And so it makes a lot more sense for them to come on and go, oh, you're all losers. You didn't work hard enough and you're lazy. You think you're entitled. Funny how these entitled people want to say you're entitled. What do you think gets them more likes, comments, or rage bait comments? It could be comments saying, I hate you, you're a loser, you're wrong about these people. You know, they're just baiting people on both sides of the issue, people who will agree with them and people who don't. So we must remember that a lot of people don't even have a sense of self anymore. They don't even have a real opinion. They're just posting things that will make people react so that they can get likes and comments and try to make some sort of money, especially if this is TikTok, or they have a TikTok shop, or they have brand deals where they're getting money from brands. I mean, we've got to just follow the money, because ultimately the social media person you're talking about, chances are in 6 months or a year, we're going to be seeing videos about how that person imploded or exploded and had to go get a regular job. So who cares what we think about them? We don't care. Ana Lucia says, one, I think money and fame reveals the person, what they were hiding, the real them. So good people will keep being good people. But if you find out they changed, they didn't. They simply didn't show you the real them, unfortunately. Two, no, life is not a meritocracy. That's what we've been told, and it simply covers the real issues. You'll lose to nepotism if it exists, and you know it. I'm a firm believer of meritocracy, but it's a utopia we should try to copy or become eventually. But at the moment, I don't think it exists. And I think I want to jump off from what Ana Lucia said to Dolly Parton. everybody's talking about Dolly Parton today because she just passed away. And I saw an interesting video clip from someone who said Dolly Parton could have been a billionaire, but wasn't, because she didn't use her money to make more money. She used her money to help humanity. She started a library that has given away 300 million books. She basically funded one of the vaccines during COVID. She kept investing her money in what would make humanity better versus investing her money in what would make her more money. And I think that's the real person
That's
she
called
was.
philanthropy.
Yeah, but again, that's who she was. Just because somebody has fame and money doesn't mean they're gonna shame people or pick on people. Malika says, I think survivorship bias could also play into meritocracy. I read something a while ago that pointed out that success requires both merit and luck. Possible. I don't know. Yeah. I felt pretty successful until about a year ago, and then the bottom just dropped out. Is that luck?
Yeah, but
is it that fairness, I don't deserve it?
Yeah, but unless you are an AI engineer, and even then a really high-end one, everybody's looking over their shoulder right now. Right. It has been for a couple of years now, and it's getting worse and worse. It's just the way it is. The market, everything is changing. AI is changing it all. By the way, I just want to say, as I'm sitting here, I'm just obviously nudging Claude along every now and then.
Sure.
It's just kicked me down from Fable 5 to Opus 4.8 on a task that's got nothing to do with cybersecurity, biology, or anything else. It's just kicked me down twice. I tried kicking it back up again. But what's interesting, it kicked me down to 4.8, not 5.
I think it's supposed to kick you down even if it thinks that that Opus is just a better choice for what you're asking it for and your token usage. I don't think it's just the topic.
Okay, that's cool. In which case, if they're doing it to preserve compute, that's cool. But it kicked me down to 4.8,
it kicked you down?
Not 5. Oh, yeah, no, it gives you a big bloody thing. I'll read it. It says
okay, because I used Fable a few weeks ago, and I was very happy with it. And I was like, gee, I wonder if I really have Fable or if I have Opus. And I didn't know that you get a message when it's changed it for you.
It says here, Fable 5 safeguards flag this message. Our intentionally broad safeguards allow us to deliver more capabilities faster, but can sometimes flag legitimate coding, cybersecurity, and biology tasks. Switch to Opus 4.8.
Ah, okay.
If anything else, that's an endorsement of 4.8 over 5. You know what I mean? If they're kicking me down to 4.8, not 5.
Yeah, anyway, that's a good point also. Yeah.
Look, the Tate brothers, those abominable bastards the red pill guys, their lawyer just came out and said in their defense, it's all front. They rent those cars. You know what I mean? It's all fake. It's all front. They're not super wealthy. Blah blah blah. I don't know if it's true or not. You want to believe in a court of law? It's probably got some weight to it. But this is what's bothering me, and it's been bothering me for years. I'm not ever going to succumb to this social media popularity contest, right? Where you live your life for the social media, for the audience. Right. What can I do that will make people like me? Like my content, like it's pathetic. It's so sad watching grown men and women acting like 2-year-olds. It's sad. Like, your mental health is going to go to heck, but unfortunately, this is society. Society is about who you are online, not who you are in reality.
Right.
But that disparity, that delta, is what that's the unhappiness that you see in the world.
Yeah, everybody is trying to pretend they're something they're not, except over here on my channel. But yeah, I mean, if I were into that, then in 2019, I would have been making videos about how great design thinking is. And I would have been able to sail along with all the other people making all the money on that horse.
All we know is, if I look back over my career over 20 years, the one thing that's constant is not just change, the wrong kind of change, right?
Yeah.
Moving away from bad things to worse things or not good things. things that increase margin, or you know what I mean, but not things that increase the user experience, the quality of the product. And AI basically is helping this all along by cutting costs in some regards, increasing speed, time to market, supporting the ego faster. I mean, shit, man, we were in a top-down, ego-driven world, and then AI comes along just to kind of give it like 1,000 times power, right? To like multiply it, to like supercharge it, to supercharge the bullshit. Here's a bullshit machine for the bullshitters. Great. What a brilliant world we're in. Oh, and one final thought. This is what really bothers the heck out of me. Meta are paying out 18 billion, sorry, right? 18 billion in social media harm for addictive stuff they've been caught out with. It's now 2026. Facebook have been doing this since 2005. Right? That's 21 years and untold amounts of money and harm.
Right.
Now, let's now move forward. It's 2026. It will be 46 before all the AI shenanigans are looked at.
Right.
You feeling me?
Yes,
this is a major societal problem because governments are minnows, right? They big tech is all over them. The law, they don't care. You can just pay your way out of it. So it's make money first, societal harm or societal concern second. But if we go for 20 years or even 10 years with this amount of bullshit or this amount of popularity contest, can you begin to imagine what our children, our children's children, what the world looks like in 2030, 2040? Unless everything flip-flops hard into like the Star Trek scientific version of the world, which it won't.
Right.
How are you going to correct for all the bullshit? How? I mean, you're literally going to have to give every kid kind of a science education first so that their basic reading, writing, information consumption are their new skills, right? Because otherwise it's literally narrative control. It's literally how many people can you rip off? No one's going to come get you for it.
KB says we're all going to need a sense of humor. That's going to be key to survival.
I think a large bunker in the garden is probably more useful. Sorry.
A large garden growing food. Growing your own food. I think that's going to be increasingly important. Yeah, I mean, we don't have a lot of good answers for these things. And, I think, even going back to Shauna's question, does fame and money reveal someone? I think people's behavior reveals them whether or not they have fame or money. I think their behavior tells you who they are. People can tell you, oh, I'm so generous. Oh, I'm so smart. Oh, I'm so empathetic. Oh, I'm so this. And then you watch them behave and you go, wow, they're none of that. So do they think they're fooling me or are they just fooling themselves? So I don't think it takes fame or money to reveal someone. I think people make themselves pretty obvious just by their own behaviors.
What people say, what people do, always different, right? I go by what people do.
Same.
Every single time. So when somebody says to me, if they're not doing it, it's like, look, that's just narrative for yourself or for some bullshit audience. But those of us that are actually looking, notice.
There's something in that, says Ana Lucia. Yeah, I think people make themselves obvious. And I think that it's on us as critical thinkers to stop making excuses for those people. Fame isn't an excuse. Money isn't an excuse. Political power isn't an excuse. Who that person is in your family isn't an excuse. There are plenty of people who are bad people or people doing wrong things, and they have shown us clearly who they are. And I think it's up to us to see them more clearly and stop making excuses for or about them.
Yep. Me personally, I'm just getting on with it, right? I'm doing evidence-based, design, user-centric stuff. I'm fighting those fights. I'm just, It's all about making money. And as long as we all stay focused on that, and that's the conversation that we're having with employers, potential employers, clients, whatever it is, it's as long as we're all very well placed to help them make the money and the success that they want, right? Much better placed than all these other blaggers. So all we've got to do is find a way to kind of have a shtick, have a routine, a pattern, a way of selling this stuff that works for you individually, because we're all very different. We've got different personalities, different experiences, different perspectives, different methodologies, right? But we all share this beautiful user centricity in common. So how can you personally find more work, find different work, basically clarify your value as a money maker? Because people see me, this is my own fault. I've put myself out there as Dr. Nick, the researcher, for way too long. But every time I ask Claude or anybody that knows me well enough, it will say, Nick, that's ridiculous. You've got 20 years of experience. A user researcher is like, it's so underplaying you in today's market. It's not even funny. Like, you should be a product director and all of that good stuff with the experience that you've got. So yes, find your way. I've been using Claude more to try to work out this stuff. I did a great thing. Somebody on LinkedIn posted a thing saying, get GPT to write a warning about you, kind of thing, if to a friend who's going to meet you for the first time, right? And it's really, whichever one you're using, GPT, Claude, whichever one you spend more time with, will have more of an understanding of you. And it was insane what it said about me. I quite liked it, but then I flipped it on its head and started going down rabbit holes and saying, shine me up, make me look good with everything you know about me. And suddenly you start to get a bit of a perspective, because it's leveraging the outside world and what you've interacted with it for. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, maybe this connects to the humility thing. I think I've got a rebrand coming up, some kind of rebrand, to fit into this new world, because it's about the value that we're able, the money that we're able to make people. That's a beautiful and good thing. I don't think any of us need to underplay it, or, you know what I'm saying? Now is the time to clarify it, because the product folk don't have it. It's very clear they don't have it. You see what I mean? So there's an opportunity here. I just don't know the answer. I don't know how to link the two. I think that's an individual thing.
Yes, for that I recommend my Atomic Product Market Fit book. That is the rebrand direction I'm recommending. I want to react to something Ana Lucia put in the comments. I've copied and pasted it into my system so I can put it up on the screen. She said, on a personal note, my dad, in quotes, which I understand since I do the same thing with my family, changed completely after the divorce. I simply don't recognize that person anymore, and I admit that I wonder many times if I knew him or not. Was he lying all that time? Did he change? How could he lie for over 20 years? But oh well, money reveals people. So what I've found with people who might be mean or deceitful or narcissists or malignant narcissists. And of course, I don't know your biological father. I can't speak to him specifically. But what I sometimes find is that people will wear the mask until they don't need to anymore, or until they just can't keep the mask on and the mask falls off. So it's possible that your dad was trying to play a character for a long period of time and then didn't need to play that character anymore and wear that mask and let it fall. It's possible that you might have seen him as better than he was because you were hoping he was better than he was. There's a lot of different things that could be going on here, and it might not just be one thing. There might be a lot of things in operation at the same time, but I think some people can lie for over 20 years. I think when we think about some of the most famous politicians in the world right now, we can think of some lies they've been telling for a very long time, probably decades. And so, when it serves people to lie, it's it's a mask that they will wear for as long as it serves them and as long as they can stand to wear it. Dr. Nick, any thoughts on this one?
Again, only personal thoughts, and I dare not. Probably not. I feel for you though. I really do. I have not similar issues, but same but different kind of issues. We're children. Just remember that. I mean, I suppose everyone's a child, but we're children in this context, right? They're the parent, we're the child. Despite the fact we're adult children, we're still children. And your parents have a fundamental imprint on you, whether you like that or not, or whether we like it or not. And that causes heck, because they can be really horrible to us and we're imprinted to them. We're going to follow them around like little ducklings. You know what I mean? And it can do some genuine, deep, long-lasting harm before you realize I probably should stop following that goose. You know what I'm saying? It's not the right thing for me. I think probably Debbie and I both have experienced that for many years. And then you realized, shit, this person doesn't love me.
I figured that out at age 2.
Yeah.
I got lucky. So, I caught on to that one early.
Well, I didn't, and
most people don't. I'm the weirdo.
And you realize that words like love and I love you are just gaslight terms. Do you know what I mean? They're just like, they're there to try to use a narrative and to kind of convince you to be either compliant or to do what they want or whatever. You know what I mean? But actually, it's just what they think you want to hear, but they don't feel it or mean it. Because as Debbie was saying earlier, if they really loved you, they wouldn't behave that way towards you.
Right.
That's the bottom line.
That doesn't fit my definition of love.
No.
KB says, I've seen people go through phases of self-centeredness after a big life change like a breakup. Sometimes they feel like they didn't put themselves first for a long time, and then they swing the pendulum the other way for a while. Maybe he's trying to find a new balance. Ana Lucia says, it's really ridiculous because it's like he's a completely different person, 180-degree turn, and now who's the real him? It haunts me to think it may have been possible that he lied for over 20 years and no one noticed. I bet someone noticed.
Can I jump in real quick?
Please do.
Yeah. Just Ana Lucia. Look, I'm going to play devil's advocate here, so please don't take this personally or like I'm being horrible to you personally, because I am absolutely not. I'm just trying to look at this from all sides, right? Your father is also a human being. Divorce is painful, messy, and horrible, right? It takes a toll on you. I don't know anything about you, your mother, your father, or anything. But in a divorce situation, you're going from a partnership to an individual thing. And again, that will cause all kinds of stress, fundamental personality change. By the way, personality is generally what we call temporarily stable. It's stable over time, right? But major life events or high stresses, like a death in the family, a divorce, these things can do it, and they often do. So again, I don't want to offer ideas inappropriately, but he's in a stressful situation too, and is acting in ways that are probably completely unfamiliar, or he hasn't behaved that way for probably 20 years or what, right? So all I'm saying is it may not be a permanent change. It's just a reaction it's a coping mechanism to the situation he's in. I think we all want to believe that it's just a blip. It's a blip, right? Or maybe, as Debbie's saying, maybe it's true colors. Who knows?
I'm going with true colors.
I'm deeply sorry if it is, because it's just horrible. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. I mean, when we see the true colors, it's always disappointing. I go through that with a member of my blood family that I still talk to. And for so long, I thought this person was better than they are, because when I was little, I thought they were just the coolest family member. And now, I'm 54. And the more I see this person's behavior, the more I realize this is not as good of a person as I thought. This might have been a cool, interesting person when I was 4 and 7 and whatever. But now that I understand this person better, I think they are a low quality person, and I don't think they changed. I think I'm just taking off the rose colored glasses, taking them down off the pedestal, and I'm seeing how they react to when times are tough for me. and I see what their reaction is, it's harder and harder for me to make excuses for them the way I used to, where I could say, oh, well, times are tough for me. This person seems insensitive to it. Well, maybe they have stuff going on. And, and now it's like, well, when times are tough for me, this person, I don't know, this person is just not who 7-year-old Debbie would be very surprised at 54-year-old Debbie's relationship with this person. And I just have to put this person in the correct box. Ana Lucia says the divorce was his fault. He cheated and he abandoned us completely. It's like he decided to stop being a dad and left to live his life. And unfortunately, and again, we don't know him and we don't know the whole story, but we do know that that's what some people do. Some people didn't want the family they created. They want to play around or they want something else, and they don't have a healthy way to pursue that.
And it goes super binary. I've seen this a few times now, right? They go out there with somebody half their age or what have you, right? They used to call it the male menopause for a while in the 80s, right? Where you hit your mid 40s, 50s, you have a midlife crisis, you buy the Porsche 911, you get the off into the sunset, and it's like, it's glorious from their perspective. But most times what actually happens, it's a flash in the pan. You suddenly realize that amazing sex and other bits and pieces are really super, like at that level, are really superficial. And that deeper love, that bond, and then you miss it. And then you feel then there's genuine regret. And sometimes there's reconciliations. It's...
I always feel like we're better without these people. It comes back to, how do I want to be treated? How do I want someone to show me love? If I feel like Dr. Nick cares more about me than my father or biological father, then, hey, sounds like my biological father does not meet my lower standards. If a friend like Dr. Nick is treating me better than someone you have these high expectations for because of their job title dad, job title mom, and when I look at it, I say, wow, I'm treated better. Ana Lucia treats me better than most of my family treat me. So, hey, I'm going to stop making excuses for the people in my family. And I'm just going to say, those are relationships I'm happy to have walked away from. And I'm just going to include the people in my life that care and raise me up and give and take. And that's what I want from friends and relationships and etc. That's where my standards are, and I'm not going to look back over my shoulder at the people I've thrown out of my life over the years, both friends and family, because they didn't meet my standards. I've thrown friends out. I've thrown family out. I just don't want to waste time on people who can't show me consistent care of some sort. Ana Lucia says, oh yes, I don't have any contact with him, none at all. I accept his decision, but it's the thing about the personality. He came into power and money and puff, just like magic. Or maybe it's a curse.
Oh, I get it. Sorry, I get it, that money was the trigger. I understand. Sorry, I'm probably the slowest person in the room this evening. Sorry, Ana Lucia. That makes total
sense. No, we didn't
sense.
know. We were getting the story in pieces.
Oh, good. Because my world was in pieces. So that's
I didn't know this.
That makes sense. So he came into money and power and ran off with a younger model kind of thing, right? I get it.
Or just ran off.
Or just ran off, yeah. Like,
said, I don't have to do this anymore. I don't have to wear this mask. I can go put on a different one.
I'm free to be a dickhead. It's like, great, God.
I don't have to pretend anymore.
I just want to send you some love, Ana Lucia, That's,
of course.
That ain't nice, But hey, if it don't kill you, it makes you stronger, and a little bit makes you stronger. It does. It just does.
KB says, with family, you should definitely take their actions at face value and not give them a they are family pass. I think it's a blessing when people reveal their true selves. Then you can make the decision to never waste energy on them again and save it for others who deserve it. I think everybody... Oh, we're getting an anonymous question, but go ahead, Dr. Nick.
Yeah. So I had have a person in my family who's like the person that you said, the coolest person, totally gets me, the whole thing, right? And it's like my other mum. Do you know what I mean? Like the mum I wish I'd had, right? And a few years ago, not that long, probably just before the pandemic, she was here in London, and I said, look, my mum did this, this, and this. Did you know about it? She said, yeah, we all knew about it. I was like, well, why didn't you do anything about it?
Right.
Because what was happening to me was criminal.
Right.
And she said, yeah, but none of us could stop her. No one's going to jeopardize their relationship with her. She's a force of nature and a control freak and other stuff. It's not happening. And I was like, wow. So you would watch a child effectively, when I say abused, it wasn't sexual abuse, but emotionally wrecked, brought up exactly the wrong way in a box kind of thing. Like, just, so yeah. Like,
I've had some of those same conversations with people, and it was like,
that was the last time I spoke to them like that.
Why didn't you do something about that? And mostly what I heard, I heard a different response than you got. I mostly heard, we didn't think we should get involved. And I said, but how could you be comfortable seeing that and knowing it wasn't right? Or someone else said, well, I was told that I can't, I'm on the outside and I don't understand a parent's relationship with a child and I should mind my own business. So I did. And I was like, all right, everybody, congratulations.
So I want to try and link all these things together because
and then we have an anonymous question on a totally different topic.
I'll be really quick. So to Anna Lucia, regarding your dad and money, power, change and all of that stuff, as well as a lot of the other stuff we talked about in today's call. And we've said this before, it's a difficult world right now. It's a very, very difficult world. And it has been since the pandemic, right? The past 6 years ain't been great, right? We're not locked down. The world has changed and changing between AI, working from home and other factors, social media ego, all of the stuff we've talked about. People are miserable because they're comparing themselves with their neighbors. They're seeing false wealth and all this kind of stuff. There's different coping mechanisms. I've just written 3 down. There's projection, right? So you talk about, I've tried to remove all the people that project their unhappiness onto me, right? They're no longer in my life anymore. Like, I'm not your fucking punch bag, not happening. But they've been doing it for many years. Number 2, people who just talk bullshit because they like the sound of it. It makes them feel good. And I'm like, I don't give a shit for that either. I'm a scientist, I'm a realist, I'm a pragmatist. Like, if that's what you need to walk around in your glass menagerie, you crack on, but we'll be over there. And finally, control freaks, right? It comes out as this control freakism, where it's like, you've just got to be on top of everything. You've got to do it your way. And they're gripping everything so tightly. And there's others. I mean, you've probably seen them. What I'm saying is that the world is just horrific. And I don't know if any of us are adapting. I don't know if we'll ever adapt fully. And it's generation alpha and beta and gamma and delta that are going to kind of walk into this stuff. I don't know. I said this to Debbie on the call before we went live. If I could get out of this industry, I would. And I would have done it years ago, and I would do it in a heartbeat. I'm not prepared. It's difficult to adapt to this amount of negative change, right? I don't know if I have the coping mechanisms to do this, to just go through the motions, do really bad work, and do it slowly. It's difficult for me to do. I hate it. I'm not trained this way. I haven't grown up this way. Sorry, I'm ranting now, but you get my point, right? It's a difficult world. That's what I'll end on.
Yeah, and KB says, take the power back, take the energy back, feels good. We have a totally irrelevant question, which will be our last one today, because then I got to prep for the stream I'm doing after this over on the Vocal Coach Debbie channel, where today we will be analyzing Tides of Time by Epica. So the question we got anonymously says, what does it indicate when a client suddenly makes an abrupt major change to the item under construction without any notification? Is the project doomed? I feel like it's hard to answer that without knowing more, but let's take a couple of let's try.
When you say the abrupt major change, is it a massive reduction in scope? Because obviously that is a big red flag when they go, look, £2 million project is now 100 grand.
Right.
Right. That's, change of leadership, budgets have changed, something happened in the market, stuff, right? That does happen. It doesn't necessarily mean to say it's doomed, though. I mean, there's not. Debbie and I don't think either of us can answer this, because it's how long is a piece of string question on this one, because it's you'd have to tell us how the project was changed, and I think I could then make some better guesses.
Yeah, and it's hard because in many cases projects are doomed. A lot of projects are doomed, but sometimes a major change happens to a project to try to save it. I would say that's less often, but it can happen where somebody says, hey, wait a minute, this project is too big and too messy, and hold on, let's just rethink it, and let's say we're going to do this much in the next X months for this amount of money, and let's get this under control. And it can help a messy project get back on track. I would say that is that happens less often where a project gets back on track after a major change, but it certainly can happen. So if a client has an abrupt major change without any notification, I'm not automatically bothered by that, because I think there's another component here that we haven't mentioned yet, which is, what's your contract with that client? Because you should have a contract that says, I'm doing this work in this amount of time for this money. So if they are now saying they want different work or different time or different money, that's where you would need to say, well, hold on, our contract is for this. You agreed to this work or this budget or whatever. You would have to have a good contract that says what happens if the budget changes, if the timing changes, if the scope changes, what happens if the client cancels the project. All of this stuff is in my contract, so I'm usually not too freaked out when this happens, because I know that my contract protects me, that I'm able to keep the money I've been paid so far, that I'm able to bill for what I've done if there's unpaid work, even if the client is ending the project or shortening it. So I would say, is the project doomed? Maybe, we don't know, but this is where having a good contract with that client would probably help you not worry so much about this right now, because even if it is being cut short or something like that, you should have a contract that saves your butt and makes sure you get paid for whatever you've done. Nick?
Nah, you got it. You smashed that. I can't do any better than that. Also, there's just not enough source info here.
Yeah, we don't know what happened here. And it's not that we want you to throw somebody under the bus and point figures. We just don't know what kind of change this is. We don't know what kind of project it is. We can't tell if this is like, how does this affect you, the person who asked us the question? What are you worried about? Because you're saying, is the project doomed? What are you worried about? Which outcome are you afraid of, and why? And again, we're pretty much out of time today. We've only got a few minutes left, so I don't know if we're going to get that answer. Dr. Nick will hopefully be back with us in about 2 weeks. Dr. Nick, you available second Wednesday of September?
Very probably, yes.
Good.
Quick one. Senior leadership teams, if this isn't a one-to-one personal client, client of yours individually rather than the company or agency you're working for, if it's one of those, senior leadership teams, especially in the larger enterprises, are notoriously unpredictable, and one of them will wake up in the middle of the night of having went to a breakfast briefing, right, where they're all just and heard a thing or saw a thing in Forbes, right, and it tells his senior leadership team, we've got to do this thing, look, here it is, and they're like, yeah, let's drink the Kool-Aid. And next thing you know, you're getting a call saying, we said we wanted it red, and I'm sorry, we're like 3/4 of the way into the project. We need it blue now.
Yeah.
Right? That shit happens day in, day night.
This is why so many job descriptions say must be able to handle ambiguity, because we know that so many workplaces change their minds, change their approaches, change their projects, change their budgets, change their strategies, or have no strategies. And so all of these job descriptions hope you're good with ambiguity, because someone's just going to throw crap at a wall, and then they're going to throw different crap at a different wall, and everybody just has to find a way to keep moving forward with whatever crap happens to be on the wall at the time.
And you can throw it back to them and say, like, how do you know that that's a good idea? If it's hunch, if it's hearsay, if it's SLT loving, that's probably not a good bet. Have you got any data, any evidence, anything, any stronger signal? Because if you've got strong signal, then we'll do a U-turn, right?
How do we know this new direction is the better way to go? And the answer should be more than I read an article or I saw a TikTok.
I know a guy.
Yeah, right, exactly. Oh my gosh, I grew up with I know a guy, but that was the mafia. We hope that they have a good reason for this. I remember many, many years ago when I was focused more on being a website designer, in the 90s, into the early 2000s. And I would sometimes have clients come to me and go, you know what, let's put this thing on this web page. And they would send me something that I knew was either illegal or wrong. And I would say, I remember very clearly in the 90s, I had a client who was a limousine company, and he sent me photos to put on his website. And he sent me a picture of a guy in a tuxedo opening the door of a limousine. And I said, I just want to check if you have permission to use the photo of this person, because my contract says all photos that go on the website must have written permission from any people appearing in the photos. He said, actually, that's one of my competitors' drivers. And I said, I'm going to invoke. I actually had back when I had more of a website design contract, I actually had a clause in my contract that said, if something is deemed to be illegal or in exceedingly bad taste, I have the right to refuse to put it on the website. And so I said, I'm going to have to invoke this clause, and I'm going to have to say, it is absolutely wrong to put your competitor's staff on your website. And if your competitor sees it, you're going to have real problems. And so, there are so many weird things that people will try to get away with. I remember I used to have clients that asked me to do weird or borderline illegal things, and I would always say to them, here's the thing. If you absolutely want this on your website, I will put it on your website, but you're going to need to sign this addendum to my contract that says that that as per section 9 of my contract, or whatever number it was at the time, that this is something that could potentially get you in trouble. Into legal trouble, into competitor trouble, into partner supplier trouble. You're going into this knowing that this is a problematic page, photo, claim, whatever it is. And I just want you to sign this thing that says that if someone sues you, that, it's not going to affect me. You're holding me harmless. Now, that was already in my contract, but I would make them sign it again to say, I just want to make sure you know that two things. Number one, if you get in trouble, I'm not getting in trouble. And number two, when somebody threatens you over this and you call me to take it off the website, I'm going to charge you extra for that.
I like that. That's just not the nail in the coffin, but that's nice.
And then they would be like, oh, let me think about this a little more. And I also had clients who were like, oh, Debbie, do this, do that. Now change this page to this. Now add this page. Now whatever. And I would have to go, hey, look, here's our contract. I said I was making you a website with these 5 pages. Now you're asking me for 3 more pages. If you'd like these 3 more pages, I can do them, but I am going to charge you extra for that time and labor. Magically, all of a sudden, they didn't want those 3 pages. And so my point here, other than telling you stories from 30 years ago, is that having a really good contract, which I think we talked about in episode 8 on the Delta CX channel, 8 or 15. So one of my first streams from 2019 or early 2020 was, you need a really good contract. And that way, when this stuff happens, because sometimes this is out of our control, when this stuff happens, at least you are protected.
Yeah. Like I said, I was in court, remember, earlier in the year, and I did my slam dunk of a case because the guy had no case. But without a contract, that would have been, he might have found some way of spinning his web of bullshit. But with a contract, it's there black and white. So, yeah, very grateful for that contract.
Absolutely. Like I like to say, I'm the person who needed a prenup agreement and had one.
Wow.
So when that person started threatening me, I was like, bitch, you can't do any of that. You signed the thing. I was like,
Don't F with Debbie, that's for sure.
You signed the thing. I'm going to show this to a judge. We're done. KB says, so I can't list A-list celebrities leaving 5-star reviews on my professional page. Right. Anyway, I've got to run so I can set up for my next stream. It's in an hour. I hope everybody will jump over to the Vocal Coach Debbie channel and come and check out me talking about analyzing a really interesting song called Tides of Time. Nick, last words from you, even though we'll see you again in about 2 weeks.
All good from me. Have a great one. Let's be safe out there, and see you in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, take care of each other, everybody, and I'll catch you in an hour if you want to join on the other channel. Thanks. Bye. Thanks, Nick. Bye.
Bye.